So I thought I'd do a little bit more to my doll's house. It's been so hot in England. I just haven't really been able to gather the energy to actually do any like DIY stuff for my doll's house. So it's pretty much exactly how I left it in the last video. I decorated the walls and the carpet of 2 rooms, and I've started doing the attic as well. So today I was thinking about doing some more of the rooms, but then I kind of thought maybe I would do some furniture. So basically I put out a poll on Instagram, and I also put one on Facebook as well, and the majority of people said they wanted me to do a video about furniture today, which I was kind of hoping that that would be the one that would get picked the most, just because I feel like doing furniture is going to be slightly cooler than trying to like fit my body into tiny little doll rooms to try and do the paper. So basically I'm not too sure how much I'm going to do today. I've just grabbed these 2 things. I have spray painted most of the furniture black. So I have like a single bed here. As you can see, it's really like not done that well. This one still is missing loads of paint on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm hoping to make this kind of into like a witch's kind of shelf. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put anything in this little thing just because it's gonna be shut most of the time, but maybe that could be a cool place like to store a cauldron or something. So I'm gonna see if I can make some little books or something to go in here, and just mess around and see what I can do. Again, with the bed, it needs a little bit of a new coat of paint. I do have a wood burner, so I was wondering what would happen if I wood burnt onto like painted wood. So I'm gonna maybe have a go at that. This is all very like chunky furniture which kind of came with my doll's house. I would really love some more kind of intricate kind of decorated furniture, but it's very expensive. I have been looking out in charity shops and at car boot sales and stuff, but I just haven't really found anything yet. There are some bits on eBay, but it is just very expensive. And I have been looking at like pre-made miniatures. I did actually find a shop on Etsy which someone actually had told me about through Instagram, and it is just so gorgeous. This shop literally makes loads of tiny little miniature things. They're called Pagan Moon Crafts on Instagram, and I believe their Etsy is called Pagan Moon Miniatures, but I will link them down below. But they have given me so much inspiration to actually kind of make some stuff. She does do some gorgeous miniatures, and I would like to buy a couple of pieces for my doll's house, but just as I said, as I'm working on a student budget, I'm going to see what I can make myself first. So I'm going to go ahead and start decorating these. What I'm going to do first is paint these black. So basically I still didn't buy any spray paint. I definitely say for anyone who is doing this, if you have any kind of plain wooden furniture, the quickest way is definitely going to be to spray paint it. I did spray paint the majority of this, but it kind of ran out on this side, so I'm just going to give it a quick coat of paint just using this. It's just like regular water-based like ready mixed paint. I just call it school paint because it's the kind of paint you get in school, just because if kids get it on their clothes it kind of washes off very easily. So I thought, since I haven't actually bought any more spray paint, I just use this to give it a quick layer. I did paint the stairs in my house with this and it came out fine. It kind of comes out a matte colour, which does match with the spray paint, so that works quite nicely. I'm not actually gonna put too much effort in painting the back of this, just because the only way I can display this is up against the wall. Obviously if I was like making these to sell or something, I would definitely take more care into like painting the back, just because, you know, people will see that if it's something sort of separate, like a bit like what the Midnight Crafter used to make. She makes miniatures, and on the back she puts lovely like decorations and stuff, because you want the whole piece to look finished. But just in this case, I know this is going to just be going up against the walls. So now I'm going to see if I can make some books. I do have a computer just there. So I'm gonna have a Google. I'm probably gonna print out a few kind of papery bits which I can use actually to decorate the books with. So I think for the books that will be going in the actual shelves, I'm gonna have them closed. I have been looking at how to make open books. I'm not sure if I should have this kind of part open and maybe have some open books in there. But I'm just going to make some closed books to go in the little gaps. I do vaguely remember the Midnight Crafter telling me you can use card to create the kind of lines of the paper. I was just going to get loads of little bits of paper and stick them together. But I think I'm going to go have a look for some card and see if I can maybe manipulate it to look like paper. Okay, so I found this cardboard box. It's not quite as thick as I kind of wanted it to be, but I think I'll still be able to use it. I obviously got some posts in there because there's like spooky confetti. I've had this box sat around for a while just because I have some things I need to send to the Midnight Crafter. And I've just been keeping them in this box. I'm going to need to find a different box now. So yeah, this is how much card I have. Hopefully it'll be enough. I always find that I have loads and loads of card until I actually need it. So if, okay, so if I look at this card, this end has like almost like a zigzag thing going on. If you look from like the opposite end, so the zigzags are all kind of going this way now. If you look across these edges, it kind of looks more like lines than zigzags. So I'm hoping I'll be able to cut it and it will look like paper. So I'm just going to cut this here. It does have kind of almost, I think it's about 3 layers of lines rather than zigzags. So I'm going to make sure that these lines are on the top, so when you look down the book you'll be able to see lines which will hopefully look like strands of paper. I need to work out what sort of size I need to make this book. I'm just going to cut off the end so I can use it as kind of a measuring thing. So there you can see that that fits in perfectly. At the top of the books there's the lines so that it looks like paper, although I don't know how much you're really going to see that. And those zigzags which are down the front are going to be covered up soon. So I'm going to use this as my little indicator of how big to make the books. So I'm just going to spend some time now cutting some more pieces to this size. Okay, so I've got a few here. I don't think it's going to be like fully enough to fill all these shelves. So basically I'm going to stick some of these together. Some of them are made of singular and I'm just checking they will fit in. Make sort of different sort of thicknesses of books. I did want to make them different heights, but I just don't think that these shelves are really big enough for that. So hopefully if I do them different thicknesses it will look slightly more realistic. They're saying that actually I have cut them all kind of slightly different just because I wasn't measuring them, I was just using a rough guide. So they are all kind of slightly different, so that sort of works in that respect. But there you go, there are some books on the shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and decorate these now and put some covers on. This is all just literally first experiment, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I may have to scrap all of this and start again, but hopefully it'll be alright. So I can't decide if I should print the front covers or if I should design them, like paint them myself. I think I'm going to have a look online and see if there's any cool like spooky book covers that you can sort of straight out print out, but if not I can just write it myself. It won't be too much of an issue. Okay, so basically I found these, well, I went on Pinterest and I found some book covers. There are honestly like 101 different book covers that you can get. I wasn't too fussed as to like what the decoration would be on them, just because they're going to be in the shelf so you're not actually going to be able to see it. But I've basically just really roughly measured it out. I can cut around it, but I think I'm just going to use this just to hold the paper together. I'm not sure if I should put something down the spine. I could write something, like hand write something when it's on there, but I'm going to have a play around with fonts. and just see if I can insert like writing on the spines. Again, I'm not sure if the spines are going to be sort of thick enough. I mean, if I stick two of these together, it is about the same thickness as the spine, so hopefully that will work. But what I did on Word, like obviously you could do this on Photoshop or any sort of other editor, is I clicked on like the picture I wanted to change. I went up to picture tools at the top, and to colour, and then there's various different like recolor like options you can go for. So I could go for like a bright green if I wanted to, or a blue. Actually, I think I may go for like a blue colour, maybe a darker blue. Yeah, I'll go for a darker blue. So I've got a few different colours. I've got the two original pictures right at the top, which are just black and red, which I really like. I think those are going to fit in really well. But I've also added these colours in for a little bit of variation, just because not all books are the same. But I still want it to have that kind of almost gothic, spooky Halloweeny look, so I don't want them like bright pink or anything like that. So I'm going to play around now, see if I can add some writing onto the spines. Okay, so I've put some writing on the outside. Hopefully it will show up. I've had to do it quite tiny. So I've done a spell book, spells, a book of bats and cats, spiders, star studies, crystals, witches' hats, potions. The green one I just put the frog. I feel like that would just be a mysterious tale about a frog. Cauldron cleaning, magic, and ghost stories. So I'm gonna print these out, cut them out, and basically just see how they turn out. Okay, so I've printed them out. I always print on recycled paper. That's just what I do. Yeah, so first I'm actually going to glue some of these together. So I've just got some general PVA glue. It's just what I've been using throughout this whole thing. I'm going to make sure that the kind of zigzag edges are at the top together. Now, the zigzag edges are going to be where the spine is going, so I want to make sure that I'm gluing them together. I think I'm going to make a book using 3 of them first, just so I have like a good substantial like amount of card to hold on to just while I do the first one, because I think this is probably going to be quite fiddly. Someone forgot to clean their paintbrush last time they were doing the PVA glue, so my paintbrush is just like rock solid. It just doesn't want to move at all, so that's great. I was making this into a book where you wanted to open the pages. Obviously you wouldn't want them to be able to like separate, but since this is going to be a closed book, I'm going to actually just glue them together just so it's a bit easier. Again, I'm making sure that all of like the straight edge lines are facing one way, and then all of the zigzag ones are on the other side. So I've got this cute little sort of stack of book now. There's like lines that look like book pages almost, and then if you look at the other end, it has the zigzags. So this side looks like a stack of paper, whereas this side looks like zigzags. I'm going to put the actual spine of the book along the zigzag end. So I think I'm just going to start with this top one that says spells. Again, I haven't measured these like exactly when I was printing them. I just did it very roughly so that I could get a bit of overlap anyway. I'm going to try and just stick to the actual size of this book. So I'm going to have to cut down my picture slightly. So I want that to be on that edge. So I'm just cut the white bits off. The only thing with PVAing like this kind of thing is if you print onto paper, if you put the PVA too thick, it will run through the paper and smudge the ink, so you've got to be quite careful in that respect. So I've cut out the little book cover. Hopefully you can see this one just says spells down the end, and then I'm going to give it like one little fold just so I can tell where the first part of the book cover goes. And then depending on how much I need it to wrap around, I'll bend the other side. So I'm just going to cut that down so it fits on slightly smoother. So we'll have a cover on both sides. You're not going to actually be able to see that. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of PVA glue to the outside of my book just so that it can stick. But as I said, you want to make sure that the glue isn't like too thick anywhere, just because this will end up smudging the ink. so many times I have gone through so much effort printing something out and cutting it down to size, and then I put too much PVA glue on something and it just all runs and ruins the whole thing. So again with mine, is just going to make sure that I've got the lines at the top so that if you are to be able to sort of see what's going on the top of the book, it will actually look like paper. And then the zigzags are covered in the spine. Okay, so I've made my first little book. I'm glad that I printed out this spine because I really like the colours. So it says spells on the outside. Obviously the front covers I've had to cut down so they don't look quite as good as they could do, but as I said, this is going to be in the shelf, so you're only really going to see the spine. So hopefully after all of this, this is going to fit into my bookcase. There you go, and there is the first little book of spells. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. You can't really see the lines on the top. If I hold it like this, you can see that it looks like a book. I'm not sure whether or not I'm actually going to glue these books in, or if I'm just going to leave them sort of like that. But actually, if I have it slightly out, you can see those pages a lot nicer. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to see if I can make a few more and I'll get back to you. I'm going to try making some with just 2 pieces of card. Maybe I'll try one with 4 so that there's a little bit of variety. But there is the first little book in my bookshelf. Okay, so I was like getting a little bit carried away, so I thought I'd probably just give you an update of what I've done. I filled this shelf with books. I'm beginning to think that maybe I'm just going to be doing the bookshelf today rather than the bed, just because this is taking way longer than I thought, but it looks quite cool, I think. So I filled this with books. I haven't glued any of these down, but they're pretty much jammed in there. And then I've put 2 here, and I got this tiny little like amethyst cluster. So I just kind of put PVA glue on that shelf and stuck that crystals book at an angle, and then kind of just stuck that in there. So it's still a little bit wobbly, I only just stuck it, but that should pretty much sit there. I've put 2 little potion bottles down here. Again, I've just PVA glued the bottom of them, and this pumpkin is just kind of jammed in there. So what I was about to do is just put some moss into that gap and put some moss like round here. I'm not sure what to put in this gap. I may make a little spiderweb to go there. I still have kind of a couple of book covers left which I could make, but I'm thinking maybe of getting like a sleeping cat or something to go down here, adding some moss in, and a little spiderweb over here, and I think that's probably enough books. I do also have this like little black cat thing, so what I was going to do is just, well, I don't know if I should glue it or not, but have it sort of sitting on the top. I probably won't glue it just because I want to be able to move things around the house, but for now I think I'm going to leave this little cat up here. So I'm going to carry on doing some of the moss. So all I'm really doing for the moss is just using PVA glue to kind of add a layer of glue onto the shelf. And then I have this plastic bag here, which is actually from the Museum of Witchcraft and Magic, and it is absolutely full with this kind of dried crafting moss. So you can buy this like in various different craft stores. I think I got this like in a mixture between Hobbycraft, I got it on eBay, in the works, and they all come like slightly different colours. Like some of them are very sort of rich moss colours and some of them are a bit more like dried out, and by getting like a mixture of them it does give it a very like realistic look rather than all being the same colour. So I'm going to take little bits of this moss, I'm going to rip it up, and then I'm going to glue it onto the shelves. Okay, so I've added this on. The PVA glue is still a little bit wet so you can still sort of see it. But I've just put some moss around there. Hopefully I'll still be able to like open this up. It's not going to be too, like the moss won't be in the way. But yeah, I've done that. Now, I was just looking at this confetti that fell out of the cardboard box. And it's these cute little spiderwebs. So I'm wondering if I should stick them up in the corners. Only thing is they're black, so you probably won't see them that much. But I think it may make quite like a nice little subtle detail to have like a black spiderweb in each corner, like maybe one up there and one down there. I think that may look quite nice. I do also have these purple spiders, so I'm not too sure what to do with those. probably not stick them on. I probably won't stick them. I'm not too sure if I could stick them anywhere, but I'm gonna stick these spiderwebs on and see what they look like, and then I'm gonna think about how I could maybe make a little white little spiderweb to go in that corner. I do really want to put something on these little doorknob things. I really don't know what to put on there. Like, I was thinking maybe little bats, but I don't know if that would work, or maybe I could turn them into tiny little pumpkins. I'm gonna need to have a think about that. Okay, so I've been like thinking about what I can put on the little doorknobs. I do have some like gold glitter stuff, so I was thinking of maybe painting it with that. And then I started looking at through my big thing of Halloween confetti, and I found these little moons, and I'm not sure whether or not I think they look cute or not. I haven't decided yet. I also don't know if I should face them the other way, so they're like facing each other rather than facing out. Then I don't know if I should paint them. Like, I don't think I want to paint them black because that will be a bit too, I think they'll just get lost. It will just be a bit too much. So I'm going to leave those to dry. What I may do, because I do actually have some like matte paint, well, it's like a clear paint that makes anything matte. Once these have like dried on there, I may actually make them matte. Although I quite like the shiny. Okay, so I've done that. I found some of this. This is just like your regular Halloween decoration spiderweb. So I'm going to see if I can somehow fashion it in the corner to make it look like a spiderweb. So I'm going to try to do that now. Then what I thought is I could actually make a little witch's hat or something to rest on the bottom. Sort of getting there with the cobwebs. I put a couple of cobwebs up there at the top as well. I did just find this little black plastic spider in with my confetti. So I believe I actually bought these tiny miniature bugs a couple of Halloweens ago from Poundland. So I fished one of these out, and I think I'm going to try and attach it to the cobweb slash the bottle, so it makes it look like it's sort of climbing around. And then I could put it across the books. It is quite big, so I'm not sure whether or not I should cut its bum off. I think I may cut its bum off because it's like one of those spiders with really big bums. I think it would look cool with that one. So goodbye, spider bum. Oh no, I cut off one of its legs. Ah! So I've got a 7-legged spider, but oh well. So I'm going to glue this spider in. I think I'm going to try and add a few more cobwebs, and then I'm going to have a look at making a little witch hat for the bottom shelf. Okay, so I've added spider webs now around the corners, the spider web there with the little spider that's currently sticking. I have this like pumpkin confetti. I'm not sure if it's a bit too much, but I was gonna maybe like stick some on the side, like a little pumpkin on the side. I may just put 2 on one side. I may just put 2 little ones on each side. Or maybe I'll show a bit 3 on one side and 1 on the other. And then I'm going to look at making the witch's hat, and then I think I'm pretty much done for this first piece of furniture. Okay, so I've been looking at making witch's hats. Most of them are fabric ones. And I think what I'm going to try and do is needle felt one. Now, I did needle felting a while ago. I know how to do it. I need to try and find all my needle felty stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, just while I think about how I could needle felt it, I did find this little bug sheet. It's like a sheet of, I think they're meant for your nails. We got them in Spooky Box Club, but I thought some of the bugs and stuff were quite cute, and I could just stick a couple of them climbing around my bookshelf. I don't want to stick on too many. I don't want it to look like a crazy bug infested house. Just like a couple to make it look spooky, if that makes sense. I think these, as I said, are nail stickers. I have stuck 1 or 2 on things before and they were fine, so I think I'm gonna go for like the least horrid looking bugs, if that makes sense, like bugs that look like they may be crawling around in a house. So I'm gonna go for a little green one. I'm just gonna stick them. Okay, so it has got like a shiny layer around it, so I'm not sure how well it will work. So I needle felted this little ghost with a witch's hat. I actually needle felted it for the Midnight Crafter, and I've been meaning to send it to her for literally months. It's just been sat in the box I had, just full of stuff to send her. But I'm going to use him as like a guideline. Now his hat is slightly too big for what I'm doing, so I'm going to try and make it slightly smaller, but that's the kind of thing that I'm going for. So I've got all of my needle felting stuff in a bag here. I haven't done needle felting for ages, but basically you need a surface to needle felt on. I use this block, but it's like absolutely like dead, so I'm going to probably try and use this slightly bigger one. And I can't really decide what colour to make my hat, because I want to make it black, but I know that it's going to sort of it will blend in too much. I think I'll go with green, because it's meant to be sort of like, that will go with the moss then, won't it? So I'm going to use the black and the green. I'm just making the hat first. I would like to put something around the hat. So you start with this wool, which comes in kind of rolls. So I want to take the black and some green. I don't want too much green because I want it to mainly be black. And then I'm just going to tear them apart to try and mix the colours in a bit. You start with this wool, which comes in kind of rolls. So I want to take the black and some green. I don't want too much green because I want it to mainly be black. And then I'm just going to tear them apart to try and mix the colours in a bit. So hopefully you can sort of see it's like mainly black, but there are sort of tinges of green in there. So I'm going to start with this smaller piece. I'm going to roll it into a ball, sort of make the first part, and that's going to be the rim of the hat. So it is going to get smaller, so I'm going to take a little bit out just because it needs to be quite small. So hopefully that'll be about the right size. And then minor detail, I also need my needle felting needles as well. You can buy loads of kits in Hobbycraft which will give you everything that you need to do needle felting, so if you are interested in doing it, it's a very kind of therapeutic craft. So you've got lots of different needles here. So I'm going to start with this one, and you just got to stab. I'm actually going to do it on that just because I don't want to go through to the table. But it is quite literally a case of just stabbing away. Okay, so I made this tiny little witch's hat. It's not like the neatest one ever, but I think it'll do. I need to find like a little ribbon or something to go around the outside of it. So I've got this like little organza bag. I couldn't find like a ribbon small enough that I already had, so I'm just going to use this organza bag, cut the end off, and then you should, she says, be able to pull it through. So then you have a little orange ribbon. I just don't really like the way that it looks when it's down there. I feel like I'll be able to use it somewhere else in the house, or just like, as I said, like perch it somewhere. So I've been trying to think what else I could put in this bottom shelf. I have these tiny little glass bottles from Hobbycraft. They were on like a string, but I just unscrewed it. So I think I'm going to put one of those in the corner. I also have this polystyrene toadstool, which I thought I'd just put at the back just to kind of fill the gap. And then I have this plastic cat. Now I don't really like the colour of it, so I'm going to have a go at painting it black. I do have the other cat here as well, which I thought I would add into this. So I think I'm still going to put this this black cat on the top, maybe like with the witch's hat. But I'm gonna not use the witch's hat on any of the shelves now. So I'm just gonna be using PVA glue to stick this polystyrene toadstool in. I mean, it's not like the nicest toadstool. Again, I'm pretty sure this was from Hobbycraft. I did have loads of them kicking around the house, but I use them like all the time just for like decorating random things, just because I think they look cute. So I don't have quite as many as I used to. So I've just tried to take some pictures of the finished thing, but it's very tricky to try and take a picture inside the doll's house. But this is what the finished thing looks like. I'm really pleased with the books and the little crystal. I had the little hat kind of placed to this side. I've stuck little pumpkins on either side of here. And then I used this black cat here. I just have him placed at the top. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Definitely looks a lot more spooky than I thought, and I'm glad that even though I'm using very kind of big and rounded like child's kind of furniture for the doll's house, I was able to still make it look spooky. So as I said, I did try to take a few pictures, so I will insert them now so you can see what it looks like in the doll's house. It's just really hard to get the correct lighting. I'm going to try and take some pictures outside, maybe so that you can see some more of the details, but it does look really good in the doll's house, and I'm really excited to get some more pieces done. So thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions about anything specifically that I made on this, then do let me know. If you do have any other requests, I do hope to do some more furniture such as the beds, then just leave me a comment down below. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, comments, please do leave them down below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade, and I'll see you next time. Bye!